Hey everybody, it's Color in the Water on Tuesday, and I'm working on a dolphin today. So I was enjoying my Pandora, and then I thought, you know what the heck, I'm getting to the fun part of the painting, so I want to go live. This is where I've sketched out my rough outline, and I kind of have an idea of, proportions and everything, so now I'm just adding in color, and I'm going to use a lot of ocean colors, blues and greens, cooler tones. So this to me is the fun part. All right, I'm gonna try to get it where we can see well. I hope, there, if I twist it at an angle, I think that's a little better. So this is the fun part. And I've been having a lot of fun lately with just being a little adventurous with the kinds of colors I use on my animals. They're not really real life colors, and it's one of the best parts of art is that you can kind of define, how you want your art to look. I see Lisa's on there. Lisa, I loved what you did with your son's artwork for his room, the dinosaurs. It looked beautiful. And I was so shocked that that was your first try at watercolor, because it seems to come very naturally to you. All right, I'm just using a lot of blues and greens. I have a little bit of a kind of a emerald green that I'm mixing in, and I'm being really generous with the water. Right now, I'm not really going off a picture since I've already sketched everything out. I know where all my lines go, so now for me, it's just kind of figuring out where my shadows go, what colors I want in there, how they're gonna blend together. Everybody's having a good Tuesday. If you're on there and you have a project that you're working on, I'd love to hear about it. Okay. So down here, closer to the bottom, there's a few little areas where the water is splashing up. And so I'm making sure that I don't paint entirely over the whole tail, because I want to show that water kind of flipping up and creating those lighter areas as it, as the raindrops kind of, or the ocean water kind of splashes up. So it's really important to remember with watercolor to leave that blank area, because you can't get it back once it's gone. I'm going to leave more than I'm sure I want right now, and then I can always go back later if it's too much. But I want to show a lot of water coming up. I'm going to go in more with a little bit of a brilliant blue on the bottom, and kind of where the shadows are, and pull that outward and kind of pull it up. Hey Christy. Oh yeah, you know what? This is my first dolphin. I thought it would be fun to kind of just play with the colors inside of, the ocean, like the ocean type colors. My son actually suggested it because I was trying to figure out the subject matter. Thought, you know what? I'm gonna do that. I like it. Hey Lisa, you got it. I didn't know. Sometimes, you know, if you're holding babies or putting babies to bed, you can't comment. But it looks like you got it. I haven't decided whether I'm going to go ahead and go into the background and put that in, or if I'm going to mostly use him kind of in relief. So I haven't really gotten that far yet. No, thank you, Christy. What are you working on these days? I have a feeling you're probably working on something for painting in the raw. I really enjoy following the projects on there. Okay. I pulled in a little bit of purple in my blue just to kind of, you know, mix it up a little. I always say that I'm going to stick with a certain color combination, and it usually doesn't happen. You took 2 different classes. What kind of classes did you take, Christy? I didn't know if you were talking about the ones. Hey, Annette, good to see you on there. I hope summer's treating you well so far. I hope you got your side tables, or you're gonna get them soon. I know it's got a little distance there to work out the shipping. Okay. So now I'm coming back in with a little bit of a gray, and I'm just popping in a little, just a little shadow. Just a little texture. The chameleon that I did recently had a lot of kind of dots on him. And I imagine that this guy has more long lines. So I'm using very little pigment, but I'm popping in some of those longer kind of streamline areas on his body. Picking up Thursday, yay, I'm happy. I know you're trying to get everything pulled together, and they're just all, you know, pieces that you have to get them all in there to get that room finished. I would just be thrilled if you send me a picture or post one. I want to see how it all looks when it comes together. And the stuff that Anissa did, Annette, for your bedroom was beautiful. That girl, I'm telling you, she is talented. Thank you. Thank you, Christy. You are so sweet. You're my cheerleader. I love that. So on my, usually on my first pass, I still have my pencil lines in there. After I finish my first pass to let it dry, I come back in when it's completely dry and I pull those pencil lines out. I'm tucking these darker colors underneath. in here where the lines for the mouth are. For now, I'm keeping the top of his mouth light because I'm envisioning that, you know, that's a highlighted portion. So I'm just gonna go in there with a little pink and a little flesh tone, and I'm just gonna pop in just a little detail, but I wanna leave a little white still. Oh, hey Tonda, thank you. I'm having fun. And I would love to hear from you ladies, Christy, Tonda, Lisa, Annette. I would love ideas on what you guys think would be fun next for subject matter. I love some inspiration because I feel like I've been kind of doing quite a bit of the same things lately. So if you guys think that there's something that I haven't done yet subject-wise that you think would be fun, I would love to hear from you. Tonda, what do you think? Subject matter. One of my next paintings. No, it's like cooking dinners. You get stuck with the same few recipes that you can think of and you draw a blank. You're like, now what? I know that there's more than 2 things in my dinner repertoire. All right, I'm gonna go down near the bottom. I'm gonna put in some of the very, very light shadows around the water that's splashing up. So it may not be noticeable from this distance, I don't know. But I'm just kind of tossing in kind of my splash marks. And it's very, very light gray. When I erase, I want to have some lines in there with my watercolor when I get rid of the pencil lines. Children and flowers. Children, I haven't ventured into people yet. I would say that's a big fear of mine, is tackling, you know, at least faces. I feel like, ooh, calla lilies. I could do flowers. Might have to look that up. I'd like to see what that looks like. I do love flowers. I feel like with people, I could do bodies and maybe stuff from a distance. But as far as faces, you know, that might be an area I need to grow. Haven't done a lot of that yet. They say never though. So just popping in kind of that water splashing up. I don't want it to be very distracting. I don't want it to be focal point, so it's very light. Butterflies. I do want to do, yeah, from behind. I could do that because there would be kind of a shadow and there wouldn't have to be too much stuff that's very distinct. At least I could start with that, you know. I have noticed with watercolor, if you want to do very detailed stuff with, you know, let's say faces or whatever, it seems like most of the art I've seen is on a very, very, very thick paper. And I think that helps you to be super precise, you know. Whatever color you lay in kind of stays put. Thanks, Christy. That is fun, though. So this is one of the reasons I love watercolor, because it has a mind of its own. It does these fun little washes that you have absolutely no control over, and I love that, though. It's like a surprise, you know? Butterflies, I would love to do more butterflies. Absolutely. I adore butterflies. Yeah, isn't that cool? Yeah, so I don't know if you can see, I'm trying to bring it up closer. So you see how the pools just kind of sit there? That's the best example. I'm not giving a good view here. This is the best example in this piece. But it's a lot like when you're doing, I would say, patina type accents with different, you know, rust and this and that, and the way the chemicals work to move. It's kind of unpredictable, but that's what makes it beautiful. That's what nature is very unpredictable. Hey Tanya, thanks for joining today. Just having some fun. My kids are downstairs in the basement doing their creative thing. My son right now is very much into using foam board to make airplanes. That is his thing at the moment. I think he's found his area that makes him really happy. I can tell. You know, he feels fulfilled at the end of the day, which anybody who loves art and finds their niche, they are just a different person because they get a lot of fulfillment out of it. So now I'm going to go in with a smaller brush and I'm going to put in some very fine lines, fine detail. I'm just trying to go up here and see. Okay, Christy, thanks for joining today. You're very sweet. I'll look forward to hopefully getting it posted later today. Yeah, Tonda, it's awesome. They have each found their own little area that they love. I have one kiddo that loves to run, and he's in track and cross country and that kind of thing. And I have two kids that like to invent. They like to make things. So in this area here, I'm going to kind of do almost a swirling pattern. I would think like bringing in a little purple. It's kind of a little bit of fantasy because I know whales don't exactly look like this, but this is my take on it. Pulling a little bit of that purple and pink in. Just a little bit. I did. I used a pencil to sketch it in first. I basically, the only time I ever didn't do that was when I was in an airplane and I literally just didn't have a pencil. But I like to kind of get my proportions right first because it takes a little bit of tweaking. A lot of times, you know, you'll sketch out your animal and then you'll realize how, you know, the head is too big in proportion to whatever. So what I do is when I'm looking on, thank you. You know what? Water is magical like that. It is true. It reflections, you kind of do see all the colors. So when I'm trying to sketch out at the very beginning, I take my picture that I'm going off over my photograph and I'll use my pencil to measure on my actual picture, you know, okay, the fin is like this on my picture. And that equals, let's say, between, you know, the mouth and the eye. It's two of those. So I use like something to gauge and get the proportions right. So I'll tell myself, well, okay, the fin is just about as long as the mouth area. So that way it just gives me some guidelines, because while I like to be a little outside the box with my colors, it doesn't translate very well if your proportions are really far off. So this is my cue, everyone. My toddler woke up, so he's not gonna let me keep going. But if I can get on later, I will, and I will post it tonight. Thank you guys for joining me, and we'll chat soon.